Perry accuser Derek Dixon sits down in a TV interview for the first time, sharing allegations of workplace assault and harassment. User claims that Tyler Perry denies, but Dixon says he's speaking out now to try to stop a billionaire who won't stop them.
Breaking news. Tyler Perry, the billionaire empire builder once hailed as a face of black Hollywood success, has just been arrested, shaking the entire entertainment industry to its core. Federal agents swarmed his Atlanta estates in a high-profile raid, uncovering what insiders describe as chilling evidence tied to multiple alleged victims. A man who turned pain into profit through powerful stories is suddenly at the center of a scandal darker than any script he's penned. What was celebrated as a legacy of faith, resilience, and redemption now sits under the harshest kind of spotlight.
5. Tell us about the first time you ever met Tyler Perry.
Yeah, I met him at his studio opening party in 2019. I was working for an events company, and we met, and he said to me, are you an actor? And I said, well, not right now. I was, or I'm working on it, but not right now. And he said, yeah, you are. We need to talk. You should get my number and
the kind that comes with indictments and FBI files. Hollywood, fans, and critics alike are reeling, trying to process how one of the industry's most influential moguls went from inspiration to investigation overnight. And this time, there's no laugh track, no grand finale, no studio stage. Only the unforgiving glare of federal scrutiny, with the whole world watching. We all saw it unfold in real time. Black SUVs pierced through the private gates, and blue-jacketed agents stormed Perry's estate with military-level precision. Witnesses described agents leaving with box after box, files, encrypted hard drives, and what some believe could be video evidence of damning encounters. It played out like a movie scene, but the fear on the ground was painfully real. Security looked rattled. Neighbors whispered that even hardened officers seemed shaken by what they discovered. The chatter hasn't stopped since. Were those just routine records, or could they be the smoking gun that unravels a hidden empire of exploitation? Sources confirm everything seized is now locked away inside the FBI's field office, guarded 24/7 like national secrets. Even veteran insiders are calling this the beginning of a Hollywood empire collapsing. Meanwhile, Perry's camp has gone silent. Phones shut down. Lawyers circling the wagons. Behind the scenes, a war room has reportedly been activated. But the most chilling discovery? Secret hard drives buried deep within Perry's estate, hidden behind false walls and layers of coded security locks. These weren't just studio backups or archive scripts. They were concealed, protected, and intentionally buried from plain sight. Now the question burning everywhere, from the DA's office to social media, is simple. What's on those drives? Could they contain evidence of coercion, manipulation, or something far darker? Authorities remain tight-lipped, but whispers from inside hint that these drives may hold the kind of evidence capable of ending Perry's Hollywood reign permanently. This scandal isn't about a star's personal misstep. It's about the machinery of power itself. How one of the most influential figures in entertainment may have weaponized wealth, access, and dreams of stardom. The deeper the probe goes, the bigger the looming question. How many victims could there be? One thing is clear. This is no ordinary investigation. It's the first tremor of an earthquake, with aftershocks already rattling boardrooms.
What kind of a toll would you say that this has all taken on you?
I was extremely anxious. The calls got to a point where the calls and texts were almost every day. Just this constant state of, like, if I don't answer, I will lose my job.
Film sets and social feeds across the globe. The FBI isn't moving lightly. Insiders reveal the scope of this case stretches far beyond anything the public yet knows. As one retired studio executive put it bluntly, if the rumors about those hard drives are true, then Hollywood has a much bigger problem than anyone wants to admit. So how did it all spiral to this point? Enter Derek Dixon, the actor now putting a name, a face, and a voice to the storm surrounding Tyler Perry. Dixon, best known for his role as Dale on Perry's bet drama The Oval, didn't just file a lawsuit. He dropped a bombshell, one that shattered the polished image of Tyler Perry Studios and cracked open the glossy facade Hollywood always sold us. His first on-camera interview since filing that now infamous case left no room for doubt. I wanted to speak out and not stay silent anymore. The weight of that choice is enormous. Dixon's accusations aren't only about his personal trauma. They point to what he describes as a coercive, exploitative environment operating behind the gilded gates of Perry's empire. If his claims hold, they blow open doors most outsiders never glimpse, exposing the cost of ambition in an industry built on power imbalance. His courage has sparked a firestorm, but the cost? Possibly everything he once dreamed of.
We're over at his house. We're having some drinks in his guest house, and it was late at night, and he has a guest quarters, and said that you can sleep there instead of not driving. And his house is far from Atlanta and where I was living, and I got into bed, and then I noticed that he climbed into bed with me as well, and started rubbing my leg, and I jumped up out of bed.
Court filings and Dixon's own testimony lay out the timeline with chilling clarity. Their paths first crossed in 2019 at the grand opening gala for Tyler Perry Studios, a night meant to symbolize triumph, not scandal. By Dixon's account, Perry singled him out in the crowd, asked if he was an actor, and pressed his number into his hand. For most, that's a call that changes lives. For Dixon, it now feels like the opening move of a trap. Within months, that connection morphed into opportunity. Dixon was cast as Dale on The Oval, a role that could have defined his career. But behind the cameras, he claims a relationship with Perry grew increasingly personal, crossing boundaries, shifting from mentorship into intrusion, and spiraling into what Dixon describes as unbearably toxic. The very man who gave him a stage, he now accuses of orchestrating his silence and exploiting his trust. According to the civil complaint, what started as mentorship spiraled into something far darker. Dixon alleges Perry's text slid from casual guidance into disturbing territory. Screenshots now plastered across court filings and news broadcasts show lines like, "What's it going to take for you to have guiltless fun?" and "I would hope you'd let someone hold and make love to you." His legal team, led by Matthew Boyd, fired back instantly, calling the entire lawsuit a scam and vowing Perry would not be shaken down. But for Dixon, this fight is about more than headlines or money. It's about reclaiming dignity. Dixon told ABC News the hardest part was the shame. You ask yourself what you could have done differently, and you brace for the judgment of how you should have ended it better. But his lawsuit claims the pressure escalated. January 2020, Perry allegedly invited him over for drinks at the Atlanta mansion. Instead of a safe night in the guest house, Dixon says it turned into a nightmare. Perry slipping into bed, rubbing his leg, and making comments about his appearance. Dixon says he bolted, but not before hearing, "Turn around so I can look at you." If Dixon thought that rejection drew a line, the script itself soon proved otherwise. His character, Dale, was shot 4 times in the chest at the end of Season 2 of The Oval. To Dixon, that wasn't just a plot twist. It was a threat. If I don't make him happy, I could be off the show for good. In Hollywood, the power to rewrite a script isn't just storytelling. It's the power to erase someone's entire career. The allegations didn't stop there. Dixon describes an escalating pattern of pressure, more texts, more late-night invites, and alleged unwanted touching in Perry's trailer. Then came the most explosive claim, June 2021. Inside Perry's mansion, Dixon says Perry pulled down his underwear and told him to just go with it. He locked himself in the bathroom until the mogul left. "Unless you had control over your body taken away, you don't understand," Dixon said, describing the terror of being trapped, stripped of agency, and afraid of losing everything. Meanwhile, Perry's public stance has been calculated silence.
Was his way of showing his power over us and our careers, and that he doesn't have a problem with just one of us off.
No direct words from the mogul himself, only sharp denials and counterattacks from his lawyers. But behind the studio gates, sources say panic is setting in. Staff, already uneasy about Perry's no writer's room rule and his iron grip over scripts, are now whispering about NDAs, hush money, and emergency legal consults. Late-night meetings drag on, insiders say, as the empire scrambles to contain what feels less like a scandal and more like the start of collapse. Dixon's exit from the Oval in 2024 came at a heavy cost. Nearly $400,000 in lost income vanished overnight, along with the rights to a comedy pilot he penned, fittingly titled Losing It, a project Perry still allegedly owns. The lawsuit isn't small change either. It demands $260 million, A figure Dixon says is less about payback and more about deterrence. How do you stop a billionaire who refuses to stop himself? He asks. That number is meant to sting. But Dixon's fight has been met with both solidarity and hostility. Since the case went public, his inbox is filled with messages, some supportive, some threatening, and some from people hinting at their own experiences with Perry. This is why men don't come forward, Dixon admitted. I knew it would be awful, and I was right. Hollywood peers are now stepping back, putting daylight between themselves and Perry's once untouchable empire. Even Alfonso Ribeiro, who directed a dozen episodes for him, made it clear he wants no part in defending the mogul. Meanwhile, social media has turned the scandal into wildfire. Twitter threads, TikTok breakdowns, and gossip blogs speculate about hidden grudges and power struggles simmering for years. Actors whisper warnings to each other about opportunities that come with too many strings. What was once an impenetrable wall of silence around Perry's studio is cracking wide open, and no amount of legal spin or PR damage control seems strong enough to patch it back together. In his most harrowing recollection, Dixon says he begged Perry to stop. I don't want to be naked. I don't want this. Perry allegedly reassured him, I'm not going to hurt you, but kept going anyway. Dixon described the fear of being frozen in place, thoughts racing to run yet nowhere to go. That sense of being trapped, stripped of both safety and control, sits at the core of his lawsuit. It's not just about misconduct, it's about power turned into a weapon. And hanging over all of this is the specter of that FBI raid. No official word yet on what investigators pulled from Perry's secret hard drives, but insiders say agents are combing through every encrypted file and every digital trace. Some whisper about communications with other actors, internal studio emails, and even security camera footage. Others claim the drives hold evidence so explosive that even hardened federal agents were rattled into silence. As the investigation deepens, the story grows darker by the day. Anonymous tips are flooding in, fueling rumors that more victims may step forward. And the question echoes louder. If Dixon's story is even half true, how many others suffer the same fate? With the public watching, the stakes aren't just about one man's downfall. It's about whether Hollywood's billion-dollar dream factory has been hiding a nightmare all along. Behind the glossy image of Tyler Perry Studios, insiders paint a very different picture. They describe a fiefdom where Perry's authority was absolute, dissent was dangerous, and loyalty was demanded. Former writers recall being cut loose simply for questioning union contracts. Veteran actors whispered about roles changing on Perry's mood, while crew members learned to keep their heads down to survive. From the outside, it looked like Hollywood's Southern Miracle. From the inside, some say it felt like a fortress with only one ruler. For years, Perry's control earned him equal parts praise and power. He gave opportunities to black creatives often shut out of Hollywood, and for that he was celebrated. But total control also meant total silence. Complaints vanished. Careers ended overnight. Staff disappeared from call sheets without explanation. Now, with lawsuits, raids, and whispers colliding, the industry is forced to ask, was that grip really just creative genius, or was it the perfect cover for behavior no one dared challenge? The urgency of the scandal only grows as new allegations surface. Dixon recalls one night when drinks blurred judgment, and Perry allegedly used even a simple scale in the hallway as a pretext for humiliation. You've got to be in your underwear to use it, Perry reportedly told him, before yanking them down and groping him. In an environment where a single text could decide a career, the imbalance of power was impossible to ignore. Even seasoned stars tread lightly, terrified of offending the man who controlled scripts, casting, and futures with one phone call. The whispers of coercion have now collided with something darker, the so-called Hollywood silent list. Sources say this isn't a normal blacklist, but an underground survival guide passed between actors, crew, and agents. A coded manual of who's considered difficult, who owes favors, and who's been silenced into submission. Some insiders claim it's practically a ledger of debt and secrecy, a record of the industry's most unspoken rules. If real, it could shake Hollywood from its foundation. The rumor is no longer confined to rap parties or late-night texts. The silent list has become an open conspiracy, a warning shared like folklore. Watch what you say. Keep your NDA handy. Never cross the line if you value your paycheck. And if investigators uncover this ledger, the fallout wouldn't just hit Perry. It would engulf anyone who enabled him, profited from the silence, or helped enforce his rules. The FBI is already interviewing witnesses coast to coast. Now everyone's scrambling, from agents and network execs, rereading old emails, wondering what they signed away for another season. Still, Perry's lawyers remain defiant. They insist the claims are fabricated, nothing but a cash grab. But optics don't lie, and they are spiraling fast. When even longtime collaborators like Alfonso Ribeiro go public with shade, I don't need or ever want that man to do anything for me. It signals the old guard is fracturing. Just a year ago, Perry was in talks to buy Bet. Today, his fighting whispers that he's been blacklisted from the empire he built himself. The shift isn't minor, it's seismic. Even if the list turns out to be more myth than reality, the fact that so many believe in it speaks volumes. Fear ruled Perry's kingdom as much as power did. The cost of speaking out was always the same: career exile, reputation collapse, or total erasure. And now, more dominoes are falling. Dixon's lawsuit was just the beginning. Civil attorneys are circling, FBI agents are cross-referencing names, and insiders say other victims are considering their next moves. Hollywood's silence has never felt so fragile. Behind the headlines, the media machine is already gearing up. Word is a documentary titled Surviving Tyler Perry is in production, aiming to gather testimony, sealed documents, and stories that were buried for years. That alone has sent a chill through the industry. Meanwhile, whispers about Perry sees hard drives linger, encrypted files, private communications, even surveillance footage. If those archives are as explosive as insiders suggest, the fallout could stretch far beyond one man's empire. Each day feels like another domino tipping. Former allies suddenly vanish from public view. Executives duck reporters. Agents whisper about NDAs being rushed through and emergency meetings dragging into the night. For years, Hollywood power brokers knew how to protect their own. But this storm feels different. The FBI isn't letting go, and the press isn't backing down. If Perry's empire cracks, the aftershock could ripple through the entire industry. The atmosphere now is electric, unstable, cinematic in its suspense. One day it's a leaked text. The next, a whispered story from a former insider. For many who once worked inside Perry's fortress, there's both fear and relief. Fear of what may surface, and relief that the silence may finally shatter. But the question remains, will this change Hollywood's rules, or will the machine simply swallow another scandal and move on? Because here's the truth, the story is far from over. More lawsuits are brewing. More alleged victims are stepping forward. And the walls around Tyler Perry's empire are cracking faster than anyone predicted. Will this be the accountability moment that finally brings down one of Hollywood's untouchables? Or will his legal team bury the truth before it ever sees daylight? Either way, this case could redefine power in Hollywood. So now it's on you. What do you believe? Is this the downfall of a mogul with a dark secret, or an elaborate scheme to take him down? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't hold back. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and don't look away.